Welcome to HomeFront Sitrep. I hope you're in for a great show today because I'm just a veteran talking about what's on my mind and maybe you.
You can find HomeFront Sitrep on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. You can also check out HomeFront Sitrep's YouTube channel.
Buckle up, the show is starting. Welcome, everybody, to a Monday edition of Homefront Sitrep. Hopefully, everybody had a great Monday. Gunny, how was your Monday, sir?
Man, I tell you, the sun is out in northern Kentucky. The rain is gone, but the area, there is a lot of flooding going on. So, our thoughts and prayers to everybody that got evacuated or had to evacuate their places up here in the northern Kentucky area. But yeah, went and got the ears lowered today and then packed up and, early flight tomorrow, head into the Northeast to see my family.
Heck yeah. Candace, how was your Monday?
Busy. As you see, I just got in the nick of time. But
You did. You got here. You popped in at the last moment. No, that's freaking awesome. No, today was a Monday for sure. It was beautiful because the sun is out, blue skies. But like you said, there's a lot of flooding here in Bullitt County, downtown Louisville. They canceled the Thunder over Louisville, which I never go to. I always watch it on TV, but they still canceled it. It's just like, man. And I think they said there was like 60 to 80 county city roads that are closed right now because of the flooding. So everybody just stay safe out there. If you see high water, don't go through it. Turn around. Don't be a grunt and just drive right through it because you never know what'll happen on the other end. You don't know what's underneath it there. So definitely try to avoid it at all possibilities. So But man, I tell you what, last night's episode with Old Glory Studio, man, I've had so many people reach out to me about that episode, and it's just like cool, that was something new that we haven't had on Homefront Sitrep in the 2 years that we done this is veterans in gaming, which all of us at one point in our life, except for Candace, played video games.
I played Duck Hunt.
I say she did. It was just like I said, it was Mario and Donkey Kong and Pac-Man, and she didn't know the PvP and
PvP games. Like no PC games. I've never. No, you can't. I can't do it. Yeah. I've got time for it. Who's got time for it? Unless you're retired.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm retired, so I got time for a lot of things.
It was fun though. It was different, and it was like it was uplifting. It was totally. It was a change up from what we normally do, but it was good. It was nice.
Yeah, it definitely was, and I, there was a lot of veterans that were watching it. Brian, hey, what's up, Brian Wood? How are you, sir? How's the weather down your neck of the country? If I remember correctly, he's in South Carolina, North Carolina, somewhere one of those, somewhere over there on the East Coast. I like I said, I still play COD. And I do the mobile mainly because when I'm out and about, and if I get bored or my anxiety takes over, I just get into the game and just focus on that and take my mind off of everything else. So that does help me. So gaming is a big part. Some people use it for therapy, like their Staff Sergeant Grit, who is a legally blind Marine. He's got a platform for gaming for veterans. There's Grandpa Gaming. There's quite a few of them that are veterans out there that have big platforms for gaming. So, what's up, Travis? How are you, sir?
Yeah, I mean it's a good release sometimes, and you get involved in the game, just like we talk about all the time with being fishing. A line in the water, and there's my concentration is just catching that fish. And they get in the game, whether it's a PvP or a role-playing game or whatever it may be, and their focus is that. So all the stresses of the wife, the kids, the work, or the husband, or the spouse, whatever, the significant other, or the dog, whatever stresses they have, just go away, because their focus is that video game, because it does take all your attention, especially some of the newer games where there's so much going on around you, right? It's not just a single 1D 2D platform. You got three-dimensional stuff going on where you have to look in the distance, you have to look to your right, your left, behind you, everything. And it's not like it was when we were growing up in the 80s, right, when Mario only went one direction and you couldn't go back, right? It's not like that anymore.
Well, it was just right. It was great to open up a whole nother avenue that has a safe place for veterans to feel comfortable and still have that camaraderie and know, hey, I got some brothers and sisters in here, and if anything goes awry, I've got somewhere else to go.
Yeah,
opening that avenue of we have the outdoor things, so many things that we found. To find something different is pretty cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it definitely is super, super cool, man. I love it. It's one of those things that, here we are, we're trying to put out information for veterans that, in California, in Washington, Alaska, wherever they may be watching it, around the world, because we got listeners all over the place, and getting that information out there to them and let them know what's coming, what's out there, what's available, whether it's a nonprofit, whether it's a business, whether it's an author, whoever. For one, we're doing it to support that organization or veteran in that case, and then plus we're getting the information out there, kind of like our guest tonight that we got coming on tonight, Mr. Ben Kaiser. When we first met him, it was right before Super Bowl, and his organization, We the Veterans and Military Families, have a new campaign that they got going on right now, which is the Military 250 campaign that they got going on. So you go to military250.org to see a lot of the stuff that they got going on there. So let's bring Mr. Ben Kaiser up to the stage. Ben, welcome, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming back on.
Thanks for coming on. Yeah, definitely. Thanks for coming back on. Do me a favor, because you were on the tip of the spear.
Yes.
So you were never on HomeFront Sitrep back then and during the Super Bowl time. Do me a favor, introduce yourself to the world of HomeFront Sitrep if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely. So Ben Kaiser served in the Marine Corps, one of the co-founders of We the Veterans, We the Veterinary Families. We our kind of overarching mission is to engage our community, veterans and military family members, to strengthen America. And it's a pretty obvious connection. Veterans and military family members all kind of have that service gene, right? When we hang up the uniform, that doesn't go away. We want to keep contributing to our country, to our communities. And, we've got a lot more to give. And the country needs us right now, right? It's no secret that America's a little bit polarized at the moment, right? And, there's really there are very few communities, institutions that kind of cut through that partisanship and polarization. And that's veterans, military family members, and, the armed forces as well, right? And so, leveraging our community to both get ourselves back in the game, because we're all kind of self-interested in doing that, right? In service of the country is it's a win-win all around, man. So that's kind of what we're all about.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many of us that just lose that sense of direction or a sense of worth or a sense of value, and trying to find out what that is, right, is probably the hardest thing to do. And if there's an organization out there that can help with that, especially within the veteran community, we obviously want to have you on the show and have you talk to, not only the veterans, but those that are getting ready to transition out, right? That may not know what they're doing, what they're looking for, what they want to do.
Yeah. And, there's a million ways to keep serving, right? And there are so many other great organizations out there, many of which we partner with. There was, I would say around a decade ago, there was a pretty stark pivot from veteran VSOs and MSOs kind of saying, what can we do for you veterans and military family members, to veteran and military family engagement organizations, right? The VSOs and MSOs still out there, still doing great work, still necessary. That's another way for us to serve by, supporting those organizations and their mission. But organizations like Team Rubicon, The Mission Continues, and others ask, like, what can we do for our communities and for our country? Yeah. We're definitely not the first ones to kind of, figure that out, but we kind of try and point that energy in a direction where the country sort of needs it most, right? So in 2022, we launched a program called Vet the Vote. Two things were happening at the time. We're, coming off of COVID, and the cohort of folks who typically staffed our elections were, our boomers, right? Our sort of older folks, and they got hit the hardest by COVID. And so there was a crisis in poll workers and capacity and being able to keep polling stations open. And at the same time, there's been a sort of ongoing crisis of confidence in our elections. Well, what better group to both fill those seats and, increase confidence in the process than veterans and military family members? So that was sort of our first big foray into this. The last go round, we did some work with the University of Maryland. They did some surveying, in a very rigorous scientific way. And it found that just knowing that veterans and military family members were being recruited, not even actually serving at the polls, being recruited, increased confidence across the board, right? So in faith in the process, that the polling places would be secure, that hacking wouldn't be prevalent, just across the board, and especially among folks that had lower trust in the elections in the first place, right? For reasons that should be obvious.
Yeah, for sure. So have you ever heard of Vote Right? VOT?
I have not.
So we had Angela Capsis. Do you remember that episode, Candace?
Yeah. No, it was, she, it's software that they've developed to help with the voting aspect at the polls.
Voting polls, yeah.
Oh, great.
It's something neat. She's a Navy veteran, and they created this polling machine that's not connected to the internet or anything like that, and it's all touchscreen. You can go back, and before you submit, you can actually see what it's gonna, when you hit submit, what it's gonna look like. Make sure you didn't click the wrong button or whatnot. And I thought that was pretty neat, and that's kind of getting veterans out there to the polls to help run the polls and do all of that, and then also even getting veterans into politics as well. Like, we don't typically talk about politics on here because everybody's opinions are different, but me personally, I think if we get more veterans in the state level, or even county level to state level, and then federal level, I think we can possibly turn around how us as veterans are treated. Granted, I know it's going to take a big movement to do that, but I think it can be done. So that's super cool. Now, this military 250 campaign that you guys got going on, it started Super Bowl. So talk about the event there at Super Bowl, and then we'll go into what other things that you guys have planned for the Army's 250, the Navy and the Marine Corps 250 this year as well.
Yeah, for sure. So, military 250 is essentially an effort to take all the energy and the momentum that we gathered with Vet the Vote and keep it going, right? Drive it into all the areas where service is needed. And, what better thing to do that in honor of than the Army, Navy, and Marine Corps 250th. So June 14th, we've got Army's birthday. October 13th, I believe, is the Navy, and everybody here knows November 10th, right? Marine Corps.
Yes.
So we've got, some big moments. The Army's birthday also happens to be on Flag Day, right? And so, we'll be doing a gathering at Mount Vernon, the home of America's first veteran leader, George Washington. We'll be doing a semi-public, ticketed event where we'll have some folks like General Casey, who is the former chief of staff of the Army, and Christine Dorfler, who is the CFO of the NFL, come out and talk to the cameras and stuff. So that'll be really exciting. Super Bowl was great, man. To answer your actual question, we had a really good time. I told you guys before the show, we got to connect with folks like Ross Chastain, NASCAR driver of the #1 Chevy, who was hanging out at Radio Row. We caught up with Nate Boyer, who y'all might know as he's one of the founders of MVP, Merging Vets and Players, former Green Beret, and he played for a minute in the NFL, but mostly well known for being like the All-American long snapper at Texas. Caught up with a guy called Clint Bruce. I don't know if you know who he is. He founded Carry the Load, former SEAL, and also an NFL player. So we just had a blast, man. And if you all haven't seen some of the craziness that happens at Super Bowl Media Week, the week leading up to Super Bowl, it's just like everybody around football and lots of celebrities descend on the town, and they all come through this one space that's kind of adjacent to the Super Bowl experience. And we're lucky enough to have some really great partners in the NFL who let us set up shop there and just kind of talk to folks and promote what we're working on. So it went really well. Thanks.
Awesome.
Heck yeah, no, that's awesome. So your military 250 campaign, this year you're going to be honoring the 250 years of the United States Army, Navy, Marine Corps, showcasing 250 veteran and military family service and engagement organizations. So you're going to be highlighting 250 of these veterans and organizations and family members. And like I said, you're going to go to Mount Vernon here on Flag Day for the Armies. Are you planning on doing anything on the Marine Corps birthday for the 250?
Yeah, we're still seeing what that's going to shape up to look like, actually. There's probably going to be a little bit of competition for that day, right? Celebration-wise. But we're actually looking at doing something in Houston. we're trying to get a sort of conference. So the thing at Mount Vernon's kind of be focused on the leaders of veteran military family service and engagement organizations, and then we want to do something in Houston that's sort of focused on the people, the enlisted, if you will. Get everybody out there and both celebrate the Marine Corps birthday, maybe try and do something with the local Marine Corps League, but also just talk about ways that they can get involved. We're going to run this program kind of from Super Bowl until the next Army birthday on June 14th, and then we'll roll it right back into Vet the Vote, which is which will be the 2026 midterms.
Yeah. Oh, so I have contacts down in Houston, nice. Both within the Marine Corps community and the veteran community. So I'll get you in touch with them down that way.
Fantastic. Yeah, I was gonna say Matt and Ty are both in Houston with Triple Threat Vets podcast. Then we got Kyle Schutik with Project Zero out in Texas. So yeah, we between Gunny and I and Candace, I think she's got some connections out there as well. We can get you connected with some service organizations that are out there that are doing amazing things. So we can definitely connect you that route. So Gunny and I will be in Ton Tavern. We'll be at Ton Tavern for
as long as it's open. As long as it's open.
Yeah, as long as it's open, we'll be there.
Wait, what? Something I don't know about. Is there a risk of it not being open?
Yeah, they're not sure if they're going to have everything ready for the birthday. So it's all fund dependent, right? And a lot of it's private funding or crowdsource funding and stuff like that. So that's the where they're at with that right now. Just not sure if they'll have the doors open. But I mean, there's something always happening in Philly anyway. Cookies used to have a huge gathering. I know it's not Cookies anymore; it's something else, but they still do a semi-gathering there. But there's always something happening in or around the Philly area.
Yes,
on the 10th.
My reserve unit was West Trenton, so we spent a little bit of time at Cookies.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, if the 250th, if Ton Tavern's open, man, after going to Cookies a couple times, I don't know. I mean, Philly's going to have to shut down. It's going to be nuts. Downtown's going to be crazy.
Yeah. It definitely is going to be crazy. Oof, I can only imagine how many Marines are going to trek to Philly for that.
Why don't they do it at the Crayola factory?
Look, you know what? Here's what I'm going to do to you. I'm going to set you back. You're in timeout.
That would be an idea.
Well,
it would not be bad.
The Army writing tools would be gone if we did that, right? So we can't have all the snacks. You gotta have their little writing tools. They get that's the reason they get mad and call us crayon eaters, because we take they need it to write with.
Oh man! So what other kind of cool things that you guys got going on with We the Veterans?
Yeah, so all our programs kind of follow that same theory of engagement, right? So the more that we get veterans and military family members engaged, the more we kind of tell our fellow community members about it, the more trust in the whatever processes we're focusing on kind of goes up, and the more regular, non-veteran folks get engaged as well, right? So some other things we're working on. We got a program called Vet the News. Vet the News, the idea there is get more veterans and military family members into media and journalism and amplify their work, right? There's some specific issues around things like news deserts, which happen to occur in high rates around military bases. So, there's an obvious need and an obvious group who can help fill that need, right? Former, the folks who landed on those posts and just stayed there tend to be veterans, right? So we also created a news aggregator, which features exclusively, for the time being anyway, we might expand it out. We had some ideas on how to do that, but for the time being, it's exclusively journalism by veterans and military spouses. And no algorithm, just literally, if you're a veteran or a military spouse, we're pushing your stuff out. So you can go there and you can kind of read the news of the day, and you'll get a broad spectrum of opinion, because veterans and military spouses sit all across that spectrum. And it's, it's not tuned to like get you pissed off or, get you, scared. It's just trying to give you the news by a trustworthy group of folks. So you can get that at getvetted.org. We're in the Play Store. We're still working through some kinks with Apple, but hopefully be on the iPhone soon enough as well. We got another program called Vet Public Service. The idea is, get more veterans and military family members into state, local, and federal public service jobs. There's a lot of shakeup going on in the federal government right now. So there's actually quite a few displaced veterans and military spouses. So we're going to be working on finding them opportunities to transition into state and local government. There's a bunch of resources out there. We're building a website to get that, built into a portal for folks now. And then, of course, the second leg of all those programs is tell everybody about it, right? So if you're somebody who's got low confidence in public service and public servants, you might want to know that 30% or more are veterans and military family members. It's tough to get the stats on military spouses, and then the further you move out from that in the families, that stuff just doesn't exist. But we know in the federal government, 30% of that workforce is veterans, right? And those rates are even higher at like the VA. So that also means that a pretty significant number of those veterans are going to, need a new job currently and in the not too distant future. So helping them out is important for our community and for the country, really. Those are kind of our main programs right now, man. We've got podcasts as well. Hope your audience would want to check it out, called Vetted Conversations. All the content we gathered at the Super Bowl and, talking to some interesting folks who are in public service. That's all on there as well.
Nice. Candace, you got any questions?
Yeah. So things like, sorry, the dogs are barking behind me. I don't know if you can hear them or not. Like the Super Bowl or any type of event that you're putting on for the veterans and the families, where do you go about picking those that you involve? How do they find you? Because like you said, you got the podcast and I know you're doing these events, but how do you draw people in?
Yeah, that's a great question, Candace. So, working with the sports leagues, with Vet the Vote, we were fortunate enough to work with the NFL, NASCAR, and the NBA. Hopefully going to be expanding those relationships to other programs and expanding to other leagues. But, like the NFL, for example, there's sort of nothing that takes the temperature down more than, some good old-fashioned sports rivalry, right? Nobody's thinking about politics when they're watching a football game. So working with them just enables us to kind of get our message out in a very apolitical way to folks who are kind of, and guess what? Sports fans tend to be pretty patriotic, right? I don't know how many NASCAR races you've been to lately and tried to count how many flag related, apparel there is out there, right? So it's just a great group to kind of find where they are at these events and work with them to get them involved in the programs. There's a map on the Vet the Vote site, and we're going to be reproducing something like that on the Military 250 site in very short order. That'll let folks put in their zip code and find opportunities both to come out to events that we might be at, like a NASCAR event, and find local service opportunities in their local area. Getting close to launching that, not quite out yet, but hopefully soon.
Yeah, that's super cool, man. Yeah, I know we were talking. Gunny and I both like NASCAR. Candace, do you like NASCAR?
I grew up in Indianapolis.
That don't mean anything.
Yeah, it don't mean anything.
I've done my fair share of infields. Like it's a race to good time. We'll go there. My daughter wanted to be a race car driver when she was little. Like bound and determined, that's what she was doing, and nursing took over, which is fine. But She could have been Danica before Danica was.
Nice. No, so NASCAR is something that I've always been, intrigued by. I love going fast. It's just one of those things. I like going fast, and with you guys being involved with all the sports teams and stuff like that, are you taking veterans? Like, how do you pick like a veteran to highlight at that sporting event? Like, do you find a veteran out in the community, or do the like whatever team, like whether it's Joe Gibbs Racing or whoever, or whatever basketball team or baseball team that you're involved with, do they pick the veterans, or do they let you guys pick the veterans?
We kind of nominate them, right? And then, we'll work with the team to, just verify that it's somebody that, fits the bill. But for the most part, for us, it's been folks in and around elections. I want to say, it was at a Raiders game. The woman who was our Nevada representative for Vet the Vote, who's also a fellow Marine, she served in both Iraq and Afghanistan, I believe. A female engagement team leader, was a drill instructor, gunnery sergeant, and she did great for us out there. And that program turned me on to the Leatherneck Club in Vegas. I don't know if you guys have been there. I hadn't been until then. Oh man, it's the coolest place.
No, I'm in Vegas at least once every year for a conference.
So you gotta check it out. You gotta check it out. So it's like half bar, half museum, right? It's sort of like
Swanix was in Jacksonville.
Oh, I haven't seen that. I haven't been there.
Yeah,
but they got memorabilia going back to at least World War I. I mean, they've got all kinds of stuff. It's pretty wild. Definitely worth a trip.
No,
so it's people that are already involved that you guys are nominating from within, or do you find other veterans in the community? Or
yeah, in the community as well. Yeah, so folks who served as election poll workers, for example. Folks who work in local government. Anybody who's kind of like either exemplifying the service that we're trying to promote, or who's involved in the programs that we're doing. We try and give them the opportunity to come out to those events.
Yeah, very cool.
Heck yeah. No, that's awesome. So like Adam Bird with Heroes Media Group, I know you're talking about this journalism and stuff like that. Heroes Media Group is one of our partners. We're part of Heroes Media Group. I think you and him would be a good connection on the media side of things. He's one of the OG veteran podcasters out there. He's been doing it a long time. He's got a major network when it comes to like media stuff for veterans. So if that's somebody that you'd want to talk to, I can get you guys connected via email. Usually he pops in, says hi. I haven't seen him yet, but I think that would be something, get you and him connected. And I know Rich LaMonica with the Misfit Nation, he does a lot of stuff on Substack, and he writes articles and stuff like that all the time. So that might be another good connection for you as well. I can't remember if Rich was on the Tip of the Spear when you were on. It's been a minute. I should have went back and watched it again, but it's definitely been a minute.
Yeah, I'd love to connect with them. And I can't remember who was on that episode as well. I think there were like 6 of y'all. Right?
Yeah, it was crazy that night. It definitely was crazy. Candace, I'm gonna steal your thunder a little bit. If somebody wants to donate or support, I told you I was gonna steal your thunder, bro. If somebody wants to donate or volunteer or something of that nature, how do they go about doing that?
Yeah, sure. So all of our programs are kind of run through this getvetted.org site that you see below there. The landing page is the news aggregator, but all of our programs are kind of up along the top banner. I think there's a way to donate through that website, but if not, you can find us at wetheveterans.us, and there's definitely a donate button on there. But we just love for folks to come in and get involved in the programs. We'll take your donation, but we'd rather you step up and serve. The Vet the Vote website that's kind of the most fully built out. There's a couple flows on there to let you check your voter registration, register to vote if you're not, but also critically like sign up to be a poll worker in your local community. The Military 250 site also available from getvetted.org. We're taking kind of indications of interest right now, but as I said, pretty soon it'll be built up so that you can find local ways to get involved in your local community in the not too distant future. So keep checking back there.
Yeah, so if they go to getvetted.org, on that first landing page, there's not a donate button. Now you can follow, Facebook, Insta, X, and LinkedIn. But if they click on Military 250 and scroll down, there is a donate button there. So yeah, if you're out there and you want to support the mission of We the Veterans and Military Families, go check out their website. It's right here on the screen, scrolling across the bottom. Definitely go check them out. If you want to be a poll worker, whatever you want to do, if you just reach out to them and say, hey, this is kind of what I want to do. And if you want to donate monetarily, then donate monetarily. Just want to give a big shout out to all the veterans out there on TikTok that are watching at the present moment in time. What's up, Rich LaMonica's on there right now as we were speaking of him. He pops in. So is there anything that we haven't touched on that you want to touch on?
There's probably only one other thing through our vet public service program. We got something called Service to Service. So for folks who are interested in pursuing degree in public service. Right now we're working with 12 schools, pretty good geographic dispersion, hopefully going to expand that as well. But we've got fellowship opportunities for folks interested in getting those degrees. So if you still got some GI Bill and an interest in public service, it's a pretty good pathway to do it.
Yeah. Are they allowed to use their voc rehab and stuff like that too? Or is it just GI Bill? Do you know?
I think it'll depend on the individual program. School and the program. Yeah, I don't think there's a universal answer to that.
Yeah.
Nice.
As of right now, like how widespread are you guys? Are you nationwide?
Yeah, so everything's pretty national. One good metric is Vet the Vote. We recruited 163,000 veterans and military family members in 22 and 24. We're shooting for 250,000 for the Military 250 campaign. We think with, the 250 organizations and the 250 leaders that we're going to be working with over the course of the next year and change, we should be able to get there.
Heck yeah. All right, let's see if I got any more questions. Gunny, do you got any more questions? I'm looking over the website real quick, seeing if I have any more questions.
No, I just saw the Rich is down in Puerto Rico doing Army training.
And he
said he was just checking in. There. So, yeah.
Is that a Stripes reference right there?
Right?
It is a Stripes reference. But so Rich LaMonica is the host of the Misfit Nation. Did 22 years in the Army, retired from the Army, and then went to work training. So he says he's a DOD civilian now, training Army guys in drone warfare. That's what he does, the drones. So yeah, it's super cool what he does. But
hi, Rat Man. And we all need to build a boat right now.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Ben, did you get any this crazy weather that came through the Midwest?
I was on a bit of a road trip the last week or so. Didn't notice any crazy weather in Arizona, where we were in like Zion National Park in Arizona. It was cold, but no crazy weather. Yeah,
it rained 4 or 5 straight days here. The Ohio River is expected to crest at 60 feet today, which when last Monday, a week ago today, when I came across the river, there's tape on the rail bridge as you coming from Ohio into Kentucky. And I think 15 feet is where the tape stops, and the water line was about 3 to 5 feet below that. And now it's up to 60 feet. So it's come up, 38, 40 feet in a week. So we got a ton.
They're talking about it. It's not supposed to be done cresting until tomorrow.
Tomorrow or Wednesday.
Well, as a former Florida resident whose home was at sea level, basically, I get it, man. I hope you guys all stay safe. Pretty good plug would be Team Rubicon. Folks want to get involved, helping their community recover from that disaster. You can volunteer with them or donate either way.
Yeah, I already got my email to come out and get on orders with them. So
nice.
Unfortunately, I'm going to be on vacation with my kids, so I'll look at doing that when I get back.
Yeah, we had Team Rubicon on a while back, and they do amazing things. So if you're out there and you want to volunteer for a great organization that goes into different third world countries, even locally here, Team Rubicon is one to check out. So that's a good plug. I like that.
Lot of good training, from chainsaw stuff to systems to muck out stuff. I mean, there's just so many different courses that are offered through their website. And when you start taking some of the FEMA stuff, man, that stuff will drive you insane. But their certificates, I mean, the things you learn in the courses are phenomenal.
Founded by a fellow Marine.
Yes.
Jake Wood.
Yeah. Who played college at Wisconsin.
Yeah,
football.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, Ben, I want to thank you for coming on and hanging out with us again and talking about getvetted.org and also the military 250 campaign that you guys have going on. I think what you guys are doing is amazing. I think we need, like I said earlier, I think we need to get more veterans into politics to help combat everything that's going on and get some laws passed that's going to help protect us as veterans.
Even this, the families as themselves, right? I mean, there's so many things, right? So you look at my wife, who's a veterinarian technician, and if I'm still in and move to Carolina, she may have to go and get certification through North Carolina. And some of these things should be reciprocal, but they're not, right? Because it's all state dependent. And I know Kentucky's been working on things here for the past 5 or 6 years to get like dental hygiene and nurses and stuff from other states to reciprocate back to Kentucky, just because sometimes those spouses get out of a job until they can get that certification. And I think a lot of that, more of that needs to happen too, because the service member is going to have the job, right? Whether they're going from, Knox to Liberty to Drum, whatever, that active duty service member still has their position, but that spouse loses theirs sometimes. It's different when you're getting out, right? When you're getting ready to transition out and you're looking for that job as now you're becoming a veteran. But your spouse, again, is moving with you. So, her job is hinged upon as well. So it's, not just the veteran that needs to get involved, but, the families, because they serve just as much as we did. My wife held down the home front while I was gone. Every single deployment, everything was on her. Finding a home, having a kid, all that. I'm gone. I'm not around.
Yep.
Couldn't agree more.
I agree. But yeah, Ben, I first off, Semper Fi, and thank you again for coming on and hanging out with this. It was a pleasure meeting you back during Super Bowl and Tip of the Spear, and then getting you to come back on just to talk and focus strictly on, your guys' mission. That's what we wanted to do and highlight you guys, and going over the numbers and looking like, we the vote, how many veterans that you guys had put in place. That's phenomenal, because a lot of times you can't get that many veterans to do stuff a lot of times. But if we can get more veterans, into politics, whether it's helping at the polls or actually running for local city council or local representative for your county or whatever, I think that's what we need to do. Because we talked about it numerous times, it's going to take a grassroots movement to help us as veterans to end the 22, because what they've been doing for the last 10 years is not working.
10 years. 20 years.
Yeah, the number just keeps growing. So there's definitely got to be a change out there. And I think we as veterans, I think we're waking up to that and saying, hey, we have to be our own advocate to make change. And whether that means stepping in the role of being, your town mayor or your representative for your county or your congressman for your state or whatever, not that's what needs to happen. So, but yeah, definitely thank you for coming on and hanging out with us, my friend.
Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it. And thank you guys and gal. Thank you all for what you all do and getting the word out. Really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yeah, so if you're out there watching this, go to getvetted.org. Check out the website there. Go check out all the things that they got going on. Bookmark the Military 250 so you can see it as it grows with the different events and stuff like that. So check it out. But Ben, thank you again. I'm going to drop you down in the green room. If you want to hang out, hang out. If you want to just drop out, that's up to you. But we're going to wrap up the show here in just a few minutes.
All right. Thanks all.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Man, that was super cool. Like I said, we definitely need to have more veterans in places where they can help themselves, one, and then also help other veterans throughout the country. That's something that I've talked about numerous times.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and you said their mission, man, it's missions, right? With an S or a Z, however you want to pronounce it. Because, man, they have so much going on over there with the 250, with the voting, with, journalism. And, man, I thought I was busy.
Yeah.
This dude's busier than I think all three of us put together.
Yeah, I'd love to have his team, though. I mean, if you go on there to the website and you see how many people are involved, whether it being veterans or spouses of veterans or children of veterans that are, working within this organization, it's amazing to see. So,
well, like kind of a little piggyback on something Ben was talking about. It's like even having these veterans and these military families involved in these very important aspects of life and society, it also draws non-veteran and non-military families and people into just coming to be involved, because you get something and a lot of civilians look, well, if a military family is going to trust that, then maybe it's something I can get involved with, or if we have the security of that, it's something I'm more apt to get involved with.
Especially holding the polls, right? I think probably the youngest person at our poll site this year might have been in their late 60s, early 70s, and there was nobody that was our age or around our age, or Candace's age, right? Because she hasn't reached that 40 mark yet.
Right.
Yeah.
I said yet. Right. So I think there are, not even just the military, family members and veterans, but more people need to go work the sites, because, the more people that turn out, the more sites they can have open.
Yeah.
It's sometimes you're limited to the poll sites by the number of people that turn out to volunteer their time. And it's not like it's, for a month.
Right.
You guys just do some classes or online stuff, and, but here in Kentucky, next time presidential election rolls around, it's straight digital. There's no paper copy for Kentucky. We're going to need people at the site to help that older generation with the electronic piece of it. Because, we go back to yesterday, they played Pong. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And my daddy knows how to use a cell phone. I bet you Willis still asks the girls, like, hey, wait, how do you do this?
No. I used to. Trust me, I used to.
And
but
then he started a podcast, and he's like, I'm professional.
What are you talking about? I had to have my kid come in here and show me how to switch my headphones from the computer back to my mic. And he's already shown me twice. Every week I have to switch it over. I'm like, dadgummit, man.
Yeah. No, it when it comes to like computer and electronics and stuff like that, I've always been pretty savvy when it comes to that, because I started, God, was it 97? we had dial up, and I had a computer in my barracks room, and we'd get on like Yahoo chat.
No, we'd get on AOL.
AOL
is what it was.
Yeah,
you've got mail.
You've got mail. So if you're out there watching on TikTok, because I know you can't see the link scrolling across the bottom of the screen, I've just put it up there. It's getvetted.org. Go check out the website. There's all kinds of things that you could see there with a military 250, vet the vote, vet the news, vetted conversations, vet public service and military 250. Go check it out. See what they're doing. If you're a journalist and you're a veteran or family member of a veteran, you can go on there and check out. I think it's on the first page. You scroll down, and I think there's a spot where you can actually register to become one of the jobs in journalisms for veterans and military spouses. It's on the right hand side, so go check it out. So Rich, if you're still in here, go check it out. It might be something you might be interested in, brother. But other than that, man, it's one of those days. Get to enjoy the last little bit of sunset. And
I thought I was going to be more energized today, right, with the sun being out, but I think having the 4 days of gloom and doom just put me in a funk, man. But I mean, I did go out and mow the grass today and fix some ruts and created some more ruts because I didn't realize my backyard was as slick and as muddy as it was. Man, I sunk my mower up to the friggin' axle. And I'm like, oh great. And it's a zero turn, so it's crazy.
Oh dang.
Go park it. Just wait.
No, so we have code enforcement that rides around our city. It's 2 older guys that work for the police department, and that's all they do is ride around and find issues that are against code for the city. And
regardless of weather.
That's crazy. They've stopped here and they're like, hey, you need to mow your grass. I'm like, oh, what's the code? They're like, it's 4.5 inches, but we give leeway to 6. I'm like, if you find a blade of grass that's 4.5 inches in my yard, I'll cut my grass. You're not going to do it.
Well, I don't think those for the polls. There's probably other things that they could put their time into.
Absolutely. But yeah, I mean, we're getting ready to have great weather here, but I'm looking at the weather for tomorrow. High of 38, high of 39, high of 47, high of 47 up home, right? Snow tomorrow, 98% chance of snow. And I'm like, yeah, I'm leaving the sun to go to friggin' snow again. Last year, matter of fact, a year ago today, Miles and I got to Maine and it was friggin' snowing. My brother told me I'm not allowed to come up until June because every time I come up, it snows, whether it's Thanksgiving or, mid-April. So I guarantee you next year I go up in June, it's going to friggin' snow.
Probably. That's the problem with being up in Maine is you never know what's going to happen. It might snow.
Yeah. But I get to have my favorite Chinese food tomorrow. I get to have some whoopie pies, like Maine whoopie pies. None of this crap that they make around here, like a true Maine whoopie pie. I get to have some red hot dogs. So it's like a devil's food cake type buns with a big thick cream through. I'll take a picture. I'll send you a video.
All right, send me a video.
I'll send you a video.
It's an
I didn't know you liked the cream though.
Soft Oreo. Oh, hush it.
Yeah, but it tastes way better than a friggin' Oreo.
Oh man.
Yeah, but yeah, you've seen the stuff, the big Oreo cakes.
Yeah,
it's just a bigger one of those, basically.
Oh, nice.
But they taste 100 times better. I might even get some fresh lobster while I'm there. Oh man, some red hot dogs because you can't get them anywhere here unless you go to Martinsville. Martinsville has red hot dogs. Don't have them here. So,
but you said something earlier, and I was like, "Am I stupid?" And I might be, but maybe not. It just might be. Maybe it's a Marine thing that I haven't learned. Which I got a dirty look when somebody walked in and saw me. I stole his shirt. I thought for sure Willis would be wearing purple today. I was like, I'm wearing my Marine red.
Wasn't wearing purple today.
Or green, or red, or blue. But anyways, you said you got your ears lowered.
Haircut.
Oh.
Yeah. I went to the doctor. and they cut them and put them down because they were too high up on my head.
Your ears lowered, but when you get your hair cut, doesn't your ears rise? Bigger.
No, they go from
bigger.
The hairline to here.
No, they look bigger.
I didn't say I got them smaller. I said I got them lowered.
Oh hell. Yeah, that's a military thing, getting our ears lowered.
I should have known that. And as soon as you said it, I was like, oh, I knew that. I've never agreed with it. Same. Like, as far back as I remember, I don't agree with it. It does not lower your ears.
Yeah, because, I didn't have a haircut, so it's right here. Now I have a haircut, and the hairline's up here, so my ears are lower than my hairline.
Nice.
That's basically
I need a haircut, too. I need to go visit my barber, but we'll have to do that this weekend, probably.
Yeah, I only have 2 dudes that cut my hair, and they were both Marines at one point in time.
Yeah, I got one guy. I've been going to him for 20 plus years at Fern Creek Barbershop. He started out in the last chair, and then he's worked his way up to the first chair, and now he owns the barbershop. So he's the only one that cuts my hair. If he's not there,
except for the one time that I gave him a high and tight.
And then
it was blocky.
He's got the funniest shaped head. Let me tell you.
No, you don't tell me. You don't think I stared at the back of that head so much during boot camp? I know he's got a funky head.
I already know. He's like, no, I need to do this like strong part, and I'm like,
I got that divot in the middle of my head.
Yeah, it's all kinds of.
It just goes. So there's a little dip in the middle, and it's like, nah, bro, you got to do it just right. So
not that hard part, and I'm like, okay.
Michael says he'll give you a cut. We all know how he cuts his hair.
Yeah.
I cut his hair.
Yeah. But now I've been going to Brian. So I got out on recruiting duty in 01. I've been going to Brian since 01. His dad owned the shop. I don't even think Brian had even been to barber school yet. He might have been like in barber school. But yeah, it's just, one of those things. And now Brian owns the shop, and I won't go anywhere else. And there's another guy, Alan, who was in 1-8, the same time that we were in 2-8. And he's the only other guy that cuts my hair. Matter of fact, that's who did my hair today. But
so when I went over to 1-8 and went on float with them, I got stuck in the barbershop, and we were in some rough seas, and first sergeant came in, and he's like, I need a cut. And I'm like, well, I don't want to cut your hair. When we're hit a wave and fuck it all. I was like, oh no. But no, I cut all kinds of hair when I was on ship, and but I can't do my own. Like, for some reason, I just can't do my own hair. But I'm real picky when it comes to that, though. So, like I said, if I go to my barbershop and my barber's not there, see you later. I'll come back another day. My wife's like, just go up here to Great Clips. I'm like, no, it's not going to happen. So
absolutely not.
You gotta be professional, work with that head.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, you have to have precision with that one.
Yes, for sure. All right.
Great.
Will is like, I'm done. We're gonna end the show because I'm the focus of the conversation right now.
Yeah, I don't like it. Y'all picking on me. I'm gonna go home. I'm taking the kids with me.
Julie,
but anywho,
don't make me turn this car around.
Yeah. The funny thing is, like, when we go on vacation, like, or when my kids were younger, I used to say, it's just right around the corner. We'll be there, just right around the corner. Now they catch it. Now they know. They're like, God, Dad, don't lie to us.
5 more minutes.
5 more minutes.
That goes back to 3 more clicks. Like, I don't know why you just didn't say that.
I did use that a couple times.
Yeah.
A couple of times. Just 3 more clicks.
Man, we got so far off topic.
Yeah, we did. We did.
Well, we were talking about our guest and everything they have going on at Get Vetted and all that. But yeah, they're building such a huge network of veterans and military families that we need more.
Yeah,
right.
Definitely.
And no matter what level you're at, whether it's local to state or federal, poll workers, media, that's not corrupted or however you want to look at it, right? They don't have a certain script they have to go by, and you're actually getting news, right?
Yeah, it's personal. That's what's. I'm actually really excited about that. I want to go see that. I want to look that Look at that. Goodness, I had words. But, Vet the News.
Yeah, Vet the News. Yeah. Yeah.
It's really interesting because he said it's veterans and spouses.
The spouses. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
I mean, they're just doing so much within our community, right? Not just the community they live in, but the veteran community, the veteran family community, that I don't think there's anybody else out there that's putting that much emphasis on the family as they are, right? I mean, some of the other veteran not-for-profits include the family, but that's not the focus, right? And these guys are helping make the family the focus, which and it should be in all rights.
Definitely. Yeah. Like we talk about all the times, families serve too, regardless of if you had a family while you were in the service and they deployed with you, or they, had to move every time that you got switched to a different base. Luckily in the Marine Corps, we didn't really have that many bases that we had to go to. We had Pendleton, Lejeune, Hawaii, and Oki. That was the four main bases that we would go to. Some of the bases, spouses couldn't go, depending on your rank and stuff like that. So they had to
rank
stay
and
home.
how long you were going to be there.
Yeah. So they had to stay home and take care of the home front. Like Gunny said, if he was only there for 6 months, guess what? Spouses and children can't go. So they're stuck back home. So we all, we gotta praise our veteran families out there, because mom and dad, aunts and uncles, depending on how close you are to your aunts and uncles, your spouse and children, you have to, give them a little bit more respect than a lot of people give them, because they do serve. Like my wife, she's my rock. And I don't know how she has put up with me for 23 years with the shit that I've put her through. But she has stuck by me, and, she's my person. She's my rock. So, I thank God for her every day of the day, every hour, every minute. Because if it wasn't for her, I don't think I'd be where I'm at today. So
I definitely would not be. Not at all. Not at all. She's the one that forced me out the house to get involved in stuff, instead of sitting here and, feeling sorry for myself and decisions I made that, led to certain events. But, if it wasn't for her, and now the boys too, dude, I mean, them, and I'm going to use the word allow, because they allow me to do what I do, right? They could, all of them could say, hey, we need you home at more. You need to be here more. But everything I do with the team, everything I do with the nonprofits, even, this a couple hours a week, that's taking time away from them. And they're like, hey, don't you have a podcast tonight? Oh, yeah, I do. I got to hurry up and eat. Right. So, the wife, she went out and bought a new mic and all this other stuff. And I'm like, seriously? But, it's her support.
So let me ask you a question, Gunny. With you doing this podcast, has your wife and children seen a difference in you by doing this podcast?
So we'll go back to last week, right? They knew there was something off last week. And then there are certain episodes, like last night when I came out and Mike was like, what happened in there? I'm like, dude, you would have loved the episode. So he went on and watched most of the episode, because they don't log on. They don't look at it and read it unless I say, hey, you need to go and look at, last night's episode at this time or whatever. Right. Cause I would sit there and watch the ticker if there's something that needs to be shared or I would like to be shared with them. But yeah, I mean, they do, they notice a difference in my attitude and how I approach the night or the next day or the following days. But yeah, they definitely have noticed a difference for sure.
Yeah. My kids and wife, they've definitely noticed a difference over the course of 2 years, especially with certain ways I handle things over the course of, the last 2 years. And some days they're like, oh, you need to do something a little different. And I'm like, and then my wife, granted, she don't watch every episode, but when she does watch, she will critique me and say, hey, you've listened to me, and because a lot of times at the beginning or earlier on in doing the podcasting, I would go through and I would, as soon as somebody made a comment, I would bring it up on screen and say, "Hey, look at this comment." And she's like, "You're interrupting guests." And I'm like, she said, "You've got better and you've listened." And I've listened to her and said, "All right, well, I don't do that." That's, and it's just like, all right, cool. So yeah, I love the fact that she does watch on certain episodes. Like she watched Samantha's episode. And man, I went upstairs and she was in our bedroom.
She was
she had just got back from picking up Lo. And she was sitting in the car at Lo's work, bawling her eyes out. Lo gets in the car. She turns off the episode because she don't want Lo, my youngest, to hear what we were talking about. And then she comes home, goes into the bedroom, and she's laying across the bed this way, like not the right way, but she's laying across this way.
I don't know why you're doing hand motions because they're below the it's below the screen.
So yeah, anyway, yeah. So she's laying across, not normal like if you were sleeping, but she's laying across the other way. And I walk in there and she's just tears like flowing down because she's like, I from her story, I understand, because some of that stuff that she said I can resonate with.
Yeah.
On her side, and she's like, I definitely understand that. And and she knows my triggers, and she knows things that could, when I'm having a bad day. So I don't know, I love it. I love that your wife and kids are supporting you, and my wife and kids are supporting me. Candace's husband and daughter are supporting her as well.
And,
so.
and that crazy ass pterodactyl cat that attacks her every episode.
Yeah.
Locked her out. She tried to sneak in here earlier, and I was no.
Yeah.
9 weeks old now. She's still crazy. She's like a little torpedo. We're laughing all the time, like nonstop. Are we laughing? But I tell you what, that's one thing about Julie is you have a wife with one of the most huge and beautiful hearts. Like, talk about an empath to the core, and she feels it. If somebody else is in pain or has a conversation or just knowing something that's happening to somebody, one of the most beautiful and giving hearts that I've ever met in my entire life. And that's how she deals with you. And then one time she did tell me it was the calves, so don't ever lose those. No, it's
my chicken legs.
Yeah, unfortunately, I have not had the pleasure of meeting your wife, Sam. But I tell you what, Julie and Willis being in my life for almost 6 years now, like, has been the two of them, like, combined. You couldn't have put two better hearts together. But
yeah, I mean, Willis by himself is a lot to handle. You got to have somebody to anchor him sometimes.
That is so true. So true. No.
Yeah, doubt. See, there's a little fur ball right there.
We're just talking.
Yeah. But anywho, guys, tonight was a great episode. If you're watching on TikTok, or if you're watching on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, wherever you're watching it or listening it, go check out getvetted.org. And that's just like it sounds, getvetted.org. Go check them out and see what they got going on with their Military 250 campaign and Vet the Vote and everything else. Go check them out. I want to give a big shout out to our partners. I talked to Adam Bird with Heroes Media Group earlier today. He sent me a couple more introductions for some people for the podcast. You can go check out our website at homefrontsitrep.com. Go check it out. There's all kinds of information on there. There's all kinds of nonprofits, veteran business, veteran singers, and authors. Go check it out. We have our featured page as well that has some featured nonprofits like Warrior Rounds and Hope for 22 a Day. And go check it out. Just go check it out. And then Gunny, this is you, brother.
Yeah, you're not alone. You still have worth. You still have value. Don't let the dark days win.
Definitely.
Who are you?
No, this one's you. I'll let you do it. Go ahead.
No, I want you to do it. We're going to come up with my own thing.
All right. Yeah, you come up with your own phrase. All right. Well, if that's what you want to do.
Got to. I know what I'm talking about.
Hashtag be somebody stranger, guys. What this means is we, as as humans, I'm not even just saying veterans, but we as humans, we're more apt to talk to a complete stranger than the ones that we love the most, because we have that protector gene. We want to protect. So hashtag be somebody stranger. If you're out and about and you see somebody and it looks like they're having a bad day, go up to them, say, hey, how you doing? You know, and if they say, oh, I'm okay, I'm hanging in there, I'm living a dream, one of the key phrases, then you have to ask the next hard question. How are you really doing? But be ready for that conversation, because if you ask that question, it could be a 5-minute conversation, could be a 5-hour conversation. You just have to be ready for that conversation, because you never know. You might save that person's life. They might be thinking about, going and doing something they shouldn't be doing. So if you ask that question, be ready for that conversation. And then, HomeFront Sitrep is on Reese Across America Radio, Thursday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern. Don't make fun of me. 11 p.m. Eastern. The website's scrolling across the bottom of the screen. That's www.reaseacrossamerica.org/radio. And then also, our shirt is made by this company here, sameflagsameoath.com. The link is scrolling across the bottom of the screen, sameflagsameoath.com/products/marine it down. Go buy that shirt. At the end of the year, HomeFront Sitrep is going to get 25% of all sales. And what we're going to do is we're going to find the wheel and put all these nonprofits on there, spin that wheel, whoever it lands on, that's who's going to get that money, because we don't want to keep it for ourselves. We're going to donate that out there to an organization, whether it's Veteran Bikers for 22 a day, whether it's the Hope Project down in Florida, whether it's Mended Sparrow, whether it's Warriors Next Adventure or Project Zero, or Montana Warriors Underwater, or Kentucky Wounded Heroes, or Blue Skies for the Good Guys and Gals Warrior Foundation. I had to make sure I got that one right. So
it's a mouthful, man.
It is. So go get the shirt. You don't have to be a Marine to wear it. Go get the shirt. It's written in red crown. Go get it. So go check it out. And then also, we have a HomeFront Sitrep shirt. Almost said a bad word. Almost.
Oh, you did?
No.
Oh, you said it.
I said sit.
No, you did not.
Okay. 1 hour, 12 minutes, and about 30 seconds. Start there, Willis.
Right. Go edit it. Yeah. But we got a shirt on 22 2Z or T. Y'all got me.
22.
At one point we got so off topic, I forgot we were live.
The number 22 TO many.printify.me.
Yes. So go check out that shirt. Miss Cade's amazing. She's got an update that she's got to tell me about here in a little bit. So I'm super excited about that as well. So go check it out. And Gunny, I got Warrior Honor Cruise. Steve Kingsley. I don't know if I haven't seen him today. I don't know if he's in here watching in the shadows or not. But he sent me his coin, and I'm gonna turn this light off so I can maybe. So I can show you this coin, because I don't think you've seen it other than the pictures I sent you, right?
Other than the photos, yeah.
Yeah. So this is the front of his coin. So he is a Purple Heart veteran.
Yep.
It's got his name on it, Warrior Honor Cruise. It's got the address of the nonprofit. He's a vice president. It's got his email, phone number, and everything on it. But the back is this thing is phenomenal. It's even got a QR code, so they can scan that QR code, and I think it takes us to the Warrior Honor Cruise website.
It takes you directly to Warriors Honor Cruise website. Yes.
That's great.
So this is a super cool coin. And then I think Gunny, you had hand in designing this coin, right? If I remember correctly.
It depends on which one you throw up there, man.
You know which one? It's the new one for this year's cruise.
That one. Yeah.
Yeah, you helped design that one, right?
Yeah.
So for all of you guys out there, so this is Warrior Honor Cruise, which they do cruises for Purple Heart veterans.
and the guests
and families and guests. So this is the front of the coin. This is which Carnival cruise ship is that? Do you
know? It's just a cruise ship because
okay.
no one has the rights to Carnival other than Carnival, so it is a cruise ship. That is all.
And then this is the back. That's super bad.
That's the front. That's the front.
Oh, so this is the front. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's super cool.
So, but anyway, if you look on what boat they're cruising on this year, it might be that boat. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, I'll have to ask James. So James is going on that cruise, and Scotty Hastings is going on that cruise as well, which is super cool.
They're gonna have a good time. I mean, it's Warrior on a Cruise covers the veteran and a guest, and they cover an inboard stateroom, right? So no windows, you're on the inside of the cruise ship. If you want to upgrade, you can pay for the upgrade. You have to pay to get to the port and and get home. But other than that, you're just your traditional cruise is on them, your first one. And then if you're fortunate enough to get invited back as an ambassador to help facilitate the weekend, they'll pay for that one too. But I mean, great group of guys that are running the show. I can't say enough about JJ and Bob and everybody that ran it beforehand that started this. But the guys that are running it now are all Purple Heart recipients, had been on multiple cruises with the organization prior to the rebranding. And I'm looking forward to the things that they are going to be doing within the organization itself. And I know the week after I get back, all those boys are coming to Kentucky, and we've got something special we're working on in the Frankfurt area.
No, that's freaking awesome. So I wonder if Scotty will come with them, or are you just talking about the people?
Just the board members.
Okay, I got you. Do you want to talk about the Mogma real quick for this year upcoming?
Yeah, it's going to be October 4th at, oh my gosh, the church. What's the name of the church? I just had a brain fart.
No bueno.
Yeah, absolutely no bueno. Caught me off guard with it.
What city is it in?
It's going to be in Georgetown. It's going to be at White Sulphur Baptist Church in Georgetown. Registration is not open yet. We are meeting with a professional timer next Saturday to design the course and figure out what we want to do. And we're going to have, a semi-good weather condition course, and then we're going to have an inclement weather course. So some of those exercises and stuff may be moved inside depending on the weather. But yeah, we meet with them next week, and then hopefully after next week, we will be opening up registration, and we can talk about that once that does open. But last year we had close to 60 teams, so 4-person teams. It's $100 per team to come out, and it's not a fundraiser. It's a memorial fitness event to remember the 19 men that made the ultimate sacrifice during the Battle of Mogadishu.
Yeah, and it's the only event that's a team event in the country.
Yeah.
So
yeah, so three Rangers started the Mogadishu Mile, and it's all individual effort. When myself and the most recent past executive director sat down and started talking about this, nobody goes into battle alone, right? So the smallest team that you're going in with is a 4-person team, which is your fire team. And then that's what we decided to do is a 4-person team. And we can't say, it's not a 4-man team, because we have all women teams. We have co-ed teams, high school teams. So, I mean, there's just so many people that come out and support the event and help remembering the 19 men. And, matter of fact, on tomorrow, I'll be paying my respects to Gary Gordon up in Lincoln, Maine. So I stop by every time I'm home. And he was one of the guys that went in to rescue one of the crew from the down plane, and made the ultimate sacrifice, and was later awarded the Medal of Honor.
That's awesome. No, I love how busy you stay and what you do when you go to different parts of the country, and when you go to these veteran cemeteries and you honor veterans either you served with or you've met their families through Blue Skies, Team Fast Track and Blue Skies. So it's amazing what you do, and I wish there were more people in this world that has a heart like you. I'm not saying that there's not people that do similar things to what you do, but you make it a point to go do this, because a lot of people, oh, I'm too busy to do that today, and then guess what? It never happens. But like you said, every time you go home, you go to his gravesite, you honor him and stuff like that. Because don't you also, you put a coin on there, the new coin, and then
I did. Yeah.
And you send a picture to the family, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, we try. Well, we try. If we don't know who the family is, we at least put it out there. And the good thing is we've got to know some of the guys that were at the Battle of Mogadishu, some of the pilots that are still in contact with the families, and they have let them know where those coins are coming from. And it's not me. I Team Fast Tracks has given me a great platform to be able to travel the world and do this. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be doing it as much, right? I mean, we lost 25 guys between 05 and 06, and a couple of them are buried here in Northern Kentucky, and guys I recruited, guys I served with. And, I've been doing it since they passed, since I came back home, and, being able to travel with the team has afforded me the opportunity to do what I do. So all the thanks has to go to my boss and his brother, who started the team and invited me to come on this team 11 years ago.
Heck yeah. So I was watching a video earlier on TikTok, and this Marine, he's 100 years old, was on this date at 10:36 a.m. Landed on the beach at the Battle of Iwo Jima, and they took him back to the beach, and they were reading his stuff off, at that time that he landed. And I was like, man, that's just so neat to see that, and people care. Here this veteran is. He's 100 years old, and they're taking him to the Battle of Iwo Jima, the beach that he landed on when he was 17, 18, 19 years old, however old he was at the time. And you could see the tears just rolling down his face. It's just like, oh man, man.
It's like the guys that go back to Normandy every year for the anniversary, right? And they don't go back for them; they go back for their brothers that never made it home. And the group that does that Iwo Jima tour, dude, I would love to do that one year. Maybe when I win the lottery, I can. Yeah, right. I have the funds to do it, but I also have a wife and kids that I need to support.
It's what, 6 to 10 grand.
Yeah.
But I know, like you said, they don't go there for them, and even I got goose pimples everywhere. That veteran you're talking about, that 100-year-old, like, he wasn't going for him, not at all. No. But to look from the outside perspective and go, you know what, these veterans get to feel that honor while they're still alive. For them to be able to feel that, because there is one thing to memorialize and respect and remember, but to have somebody that is still here that experienced that, and for them to feel what it is with those people surrounding them and feeling that thank you that back in those times they didn't get, and that's something amazing to watch.
I would say the World War II vets got it because they came back to ticker tape parades and stuff after the signing of the end of the war, right? You look at Korea and Vietnam, who didn't get it as much, especially Vietnam, right? But even just going back to Iwo Jima alone, the hallowed grounds that the country still has control of, and they only let certain times a year for you to go over there to visit, and it has to be with it has to be with a group. You just can't go. But next year I plan on going to Bella Wood, and just that's the turning point of World War I for the Marine Corps was at Bella Wood, and going there and visit Devil Dog Fountain, and I've got a coins. I don't know if it's on this wall or the other wall, but a guy that I had met, just over the internet, sent me a coin. It's his grandfather who was at Bella Wood. That coin's making a trip with me to Bella Wood, and it's going to be dunked in Devil Dog Fountain or underneath it, and I'm going to send it back to him to, you know, kind of go full circle with his grandpa and that coin. So
yeah, that's a bucket list item for me, is to go back to go to Bellowood and see the battleground, see the Devil Dog Fountain, and Iwo Jima is another one of those bucket list items. You know, going over there and seeing that, and that's just eventually one of these days I might be able to do that. Whether, you know, once the kids get out of high school and Julie and I are empty nesters, and I decide I get her to move to Italy or somewhere, Sweden or something, and we just jump on a bullet train and just go wherever we want to go. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Up in Florida, you already know it. You're going to Florida.
Sweden will pay me to go live there for a year. There's other countries that will pay us. Italy will pay me to go live there for a year. I mean, they will give me a villa and I can go live there for a year.
But your wife wants to go to Florida.
She'll be all right.
That's where
but you get some good vino and some good pasta.
But no, man, it was a great show tonight. I want to thank Ben Kaiser for coming on and hanging out with us. I know we're kind of going off topic since we already went through the closeouts. But listen, guys, you're not alone. You have worth. Gunny says it best. You know, you're not alone. You have worth.
Yep. Surround yourself with people that are gonna build you up, not tear you down.
Definitely get rid of the toxic people.
Absolutely, even if they're family.
Yes, even if they are family. Somebody wants you to show up tomorrow because you are loved. So, but it is that time of night, guys. I hate to do it, but it is that time. Like we always say on Homefront Sitrep, stay safe out there. We got
your six.
Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed this show.
Suggestions and comments are always welcome.
Cannot wait to have another great show with y'all.
Don't forget you can find Homefront Sitrep on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
Stay safe out there. I got your six.